Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Maria Gurevich at Right Up Your Alley, where we teach writing and reading to kids grade 2 up all the way to high school, and some of our students come back with their university projects as well. We have one-on-one tutoring, group classes for enrichment, public speaking classes, and additional workshops. Tonight, I have some incredible young people to introduce to you who will be sharing their university experiences, and you can ask them any questions about applying to universities, choosing universities, adapting to university life, and anything you ever wanted to know about universities.
Uh, so my name's David. I just finished my first year of civil engineering in the University of Waterloo. I went to Stephen Lewis Secondary. Um, yeah.
Thank you. Um,
Do you want us to introduce ourselves?
yes, please. Thank you for your answer. Yes, please.
Okay. So I'm Asha. I go to Ryerson TMU. I'm in their law and business program, and I'm doing computer science minor, and I'm in my fourth year, starting in fall. Yeah.
Hi, my name is Daniel Volkov. I went to Northern Secondary School in Toronto, and then I went to Ryerson, and I graduated there in 2021 with a degree in mechanical engineering. I've since been working in the nuclear industry. My company specializes in making tooling for the maintenance of nuclear reactors, and as well as tooling for the automation and production of medical isotopes.
Um, my name's Anastasia. I went to Alexander Mackenzie High School. I go to McGill University, and I have a major. I'm majoring in political science with a minor in cognitive science, and I will be going into my third year this coming fall.
Hi, I'm Beata. I graduated with my bachelor's in business administration from the Schulich School of Business. I graduated from Vaughan Secondary School, and I'm currently working as a project manager.
My name is Ashley. I am a second-year medical student at Queen's. I went to the University of Guelph for my undergrad, and I went to Alexander Mackenzie High School. And I'm very, very happy to chat more with anyone if they think of any questions. Maria, you have my email and my phone number. Feel free to distribute that to whoever needs it. I'm always happy to chat, whether it be over the phone or in person. And thank you so much for having
so
me.
much.
So it's honestly time management, and everyone will slowly get into it. First year, I thought that it was the hardest year for me, specifically coming out of high school. It was a lot of material, a lot of homework, a lot of quizzes, a lot of exams, a lot of writing. So first semester, first year is usually the hardest with time management, but after that, everyone's fine. So yeah, I would say everyone got it. Just time management.
Thank you, Anastasia. How did you choose which university to go to and work-life balance?
So I applied to, I believe, 6 universities, and each was a different program. I had no idea what I really wanted to do. It was either neuroscience to something to do with politics. It was really a wide range. So one of the biggest factors for me that wasn't necessarily program related was getting to experience living in another city. So McGill's in Montreal, so that's a different, complete different city in a different province. It is very international based, so there is a lot of Canadian students, but a very big percentage come from other countries. So I wanted to experience just a different environment, and it certainly is a contrast to Toronto. But there's also a lot of research opportunities and a lot of post graduate schools that are available at McGill. So if I were to go to continuing studies after my undergrad, that's a big option as well. So that was also a big factor for me on picking where to go. But in terms of work-life balance,
time management is, as said before, it's like the biggest factor. It is quite hard to understand, but like really understanding how you study and what is best for you. Are you a visual learner? Are you like repetition? That really helps figure out when to plan things, because in Montreal, especially, there's a big nightlife, there's a big student social life. There's a very like it's very much work hard, play hard. So we really had to. It's really part of our culture, like school culture, to honestly like study, and then socialize, have fun at night. So we really all kind of figured out our ways to study in the first year. So, but that it's a little hard, but definitely is something that will what you take away from university, and it really helps. Just not even to go out, but sometimes to have just some separation from studying and breathing room. But yeah.
I need so much, but okay.
How is work-life balance at Schulich, and how did you choose Schulich?
I'm the opposite. I want to stay as close as possible to home as necessary. I did not want to live on my own, and nor am I living on my own now. Parents are the best. Also,
Yes,
prices are
they
insane. How did I choose Schulich? Yeah, so I want to be close. It was a reputable university, where I was also being at York, so I learned how to hold a fork. 4 years of education, worth it, as well as learning business skills. And there are a lot of great things about Schulich, like having the small class sizes, being with people who, had really high averages in school. So it's people who wanted to be there, people who tried really hard. Not only high grades, but also, you're meeting people who were like captain of the soccer team, or, future deco, whatever it was. So it was really inspiring to be with a lot of high performers, and they encourage you to do your best. In terms of work life balance or school life balance, so as mentioned, yeah. So the one thing that I would say with Schulich that is missing is the co-op program. That's one thing that really I wish Schulich had, and even Ramen. But there's definitely ways to find internships, co-ops, everything between, and in terms of balance, yeah, you just gotta manage your time. If you have good skills in high school, just carry them forward to university. Manage your time, make sure you study hard. Of course, enjoy what university has. Go out, go to clubs, have fun. But just with anything, everything moderation is good. And then that was it, right?
I think that was it.
Yeah, and then vacation days, just you get your summers off at York, so you choose what you want to do, if you want to summer school, or if you want to work, or if whatever you want to do.
Thank you. Let me just quickly check if we have any questions here. Question to Anastasia. Are you bilingual? That's a great question.
I am bilingual or trilingual. I know several languages, but it's not a requirement at McGill. McGill is an English-based school, so everything is taught in English. There are French courses, and because the province of Quebec is trying to reinforce more French because it's becoming more Anglophone, they're providing free courses in French, so you wouldn't be paying for those. But yeah, majority of because there's a lot of international students, they know like English, they'll know their home languages, native languages, but there is many people who speak only one language, so it's not like a do or die type of situation. But
And that one language not being French.
not being French, yes, it's English, most of them. There are people who don't speak as much English, but they'll be going to more French-based universities, which are also in the city. But McGill is fully English, except for the free French courses. But that's about it.
Okay, thank you. My next question, and keep asking questions in the chat. We're happy to answer them. I think that's a follow-up for Anastasia. Are you going to have a dual degree?
I was thinking of doing a dual degree, but at McGill, a regular course is worth 3 credits. It differs from university, but they're kind of condensed courses. So
we have a certain amount that we're required to graduate with, and a dual degree, you're basically limited to specifically, you won't have room for electives. It's only what you're trying to study. So if I were to do not a minor in cognitive science, but another major, it will be strictly cognitive science and political science, while I have room for some classes that are different from my main curriculum, if with the minor and major contrast. Additionally, specifically for cognitive science, it as a minor, it is worth more than the average minor that we have, minor programs. A regular minor program in McGill is 18 credits, but a cognitive science is 24. So it is already like an extra load. So for me I want just some room for electives and other courses to contrast. So that's why I'm not doing a dual degree. But if you really want to zone in and focus on two majors, or even one, there's like honors programs, and which are like kind of advanced majors and dual joint double majors. But yeah.
Thank you. My next question, I know a lot of families have, I know a lot of families are questioning how to balance the focus on school and the focus on your grades and other extracurricular activities or a part-time job, and how helpful that is when applying to university, when looking for co-op. David already mentioned that having any kind of work experience is really helpful to finding your first co-op. But I want to ask you guys, which of your extracurricular activities or part-time jobs or volunteer experiences, any experiences that you had outside of school, which of those did you find helpful? Was it athletics? Was it jobs? Was it any kind of cultural or social involvement? Anything that you would say was most helpful in university and career wise? Ashley?
Yeah, excellent question. For me, I think the best experience that I had was working at an overnight camp called J Academy. It's not running this year, I don't think, but they have some programming throughout the year. But definitely something like that was good for a multitude of reasons. It helped me develop my professional skills. Like camp sounds like a silly job, but it's actually pretty hard, especially as a teenager to be managing like another group of children. Um, it taught me communication skills, problem solving skills, all things that I've been able to talk about at every point in my application process and university career from high school up until now. Like I still reference that experience all the time. And it also taught me that I really liked being involved in the community and like cultural programming. So then when I went to the University of Guelph, I was really involved with Hillel, Juski, and those sorts of things. And that really helped not only build my resume, but also to the work-life balance point, like when you're doing jobs and extracurriculars that you genuinely enjoy, it doesn't really feel like a task, and it helps with work-life balance for sure.
Everyone here is nodding to the camp experience. David?
Yeah, so I did not have any work experience before my first co-op, but I did have a few volunteering positions. I'd say the most influential one was it was actually a community gardening position in Toronto. I think it's especially like helpful for my career since in civil engineering it's a very big motive to create everything as sustainable as possible, and being exposed to uh, things like native plants, pollinators, knowing how to make a city like more greener and how to uh, educate the public and other people, even children, on how you can make a more green and environmentally friendly neighborhood, whether it's in your backyard, balcony. I think that's definitely uh, helped. But also, I'd say the program itself helped me get my first co-op. I'd say Waterloo really prepares you well for the industry compared to like more traditional engineering programs. Since I did in Waterloo first year, you do end up taking a concepts course. It's basically a course that's related to your specific engineering degree, and you do different projects that are related to that. Um, for me, I designed the building in in that in that course, and I think that really helped develop a lot of skills, a lot of teamwork skills. But yeah, overall, like volunteering is really crucial. I'd say another position was at the JCC. I helped with some special needs children. We did some uh, activities that help them communicate with one another. So I help monitor those programs, help engage them, and that really taught me a lot of valuable interpersonal skills, how to manage different people, different situations, and yeah, I definitely think that mentioning that in my interviews really helped employers see the skills that I have. Yeah.
Thank you so much. We're gonna go through everybody. Just follow up question for Anastasia before these questions get too like high up and I lose track of them. Did McGill increase their tuition for Ontario residents 2 to 3 times only for 24-25? Do you pay after 3 years the same tuition like Quebec students?
I'm not too sure about incoming students, but I started at McGill 2022, and the tuition increase won't affect me unless I have to basically graduate within 5 years. So anytime past that, I will get an increase. I believe they only increased it by 2 times, so it's double the uh, price now. But I still pay the same tuition because I'm in McGill, and if I take more time and don't get my graduate within the 5 years, I will end up having to pay the increase. But I believe it's just double the original, so it is more expensive. But
Extracurricular
extracurriculars. So in high school, I played competitive soccer. So that really helped with establishing the work life balance and well, not really work life, more time management, because I was taking a lot in school, but also doing a lot of soccer after school. So I was kind of familiar with how to juggle a lot of things at once, and it really helped me work with other people because it's a team sport, and also just handling things under pressure. But additionally, in university, I am in there's a lot of clubs. Right now I am in a school magazine. So a lot of writing, it'll help you meet a lot of people, and you will also learn from those people because many students that join these extracurriculars are actually from different majors, faculties. It's really good for interacting and maybe finding out more things about your school, but also really helping you gain contacts for potential internships, references. It is really good for networking. Yeah.
Thank you, Beata. And there's a question for you here as well.
Student life at your school. Oh. Okay, I'll answer the extracurriculars question and then the question. Actually, no, I'll just answer the question about student life. So, yeah, I remember seeing like an article about student life, and York ranked pretty low. Yeah, it is a commuter school, so I would say you have to go out and look for student life. So there were students that literally went to school and left. That's their choice. For me, I was like, I'm paying my money. I'm going to get my money's worth. So no, I'm kidding. But I went out to different clubs. York has so many clubs. You can't fill your schedule with how many clubs, and you just go. And so in my first year, I was like, okay, free food. I'm there. So I started going to clubs, big satisfiers, free food, and also when they give away anything, Starbucks gift cards, whatever it was, a big incentive for me. So I went, and at first it was like, okay, I'm just going for free food, whatever, I don't want to listen. But then it became like, oh, I'm actually interested in different clubs. And really, especially being in business, Schulich has its own building at York. It's very much like its own little school. So getting outside and going to different clubs and events kind of lets you meet different students, lets you meet different opportunities. So yeah, I would say like it's not, party all night, all that. Like other campuses may not be as easy, especially because people live in different cities, go buses, people literally travel from all over. But if you really want to find good friends, you want to find good clubs, definitely there's an opportunity just like any other school. And then in terms of extracurriculars, so Schulich has, when you're applying from high school, you have to fill out a leadership profile so that you have to talk about 3 to 5 experiences you have. And basically, it's not like one experience ranks over the other. So they're looking for as much experience as you have, up to 5, of course. So literally, I ran out of experiences very fast. But you just mentioned anything you're involved with, so part-time job, volunteer, being part of clubs. So when you're applying to Schulich, I would say that it's definitely do what you're passionate about, but also like try to diversify your volunteer hours, and then you can talk about it in Schulich, like the fact that you did this and did that. They don't really see how many hours you did. I did gift wrapping one day, and I mentioned was a master gift wrapper. Big lie, but it's okay. Not that I'm encouraging lying, but Schulich wants 5 experiences. So do that. And then when you're applying real life talk, when you're applying from university to real life jobs, for your full-time job, for your first internship, whatever it is, grades are important for sure, but the way you stand out is not by your grades, it's by the fact that you're a well-rounded student. What that means is that yes, you can have part-time jobs or you can be involved in clubs, and it's not about how many clubs you're involved with, it's about the position you have. So even if you're involved with one club but you help bring in over $10,000 in sponsorship money, like that shows more than somebody who's just part of different clubs and just says like I'm a member of everything, versus being an exec. So I would say that rather than trying to have as many experiences as possible, try to choose one you're really passionate about and really put your heart into it, make it the best you can, and then in your resume you can have like a bunch of points to talk about it. So yeah, that would be my advice for anyone who's applying both at Schulich and real life jobs.
Just to follow up with the tuition question, I forgot to answer the last part, but any out of province student pays, I believe, a couple $1,000s above the Quebec tuition. So we pay different from the Quebec students. It varies from program. The Bachelor of Arts, which is not like visual arts, but political science, liberal arts, psychology, all that. They pay slightly less than science because science has additional like labs, clinicals. So that will be a separate cost, but we pay slightly more than Quebec. So
Great. Let me just see the questions. If you weren't happy with, we'll answer that question a little bit later. Is there someone that can answer? Is there anyone that is considering getting an MBA? What opportunities can this degree bring to you after school? I think that's you, right? Beata as well? No?
I
Just
can
okay.
answer the bit.
Well, can you include that? And then we're going to keep that question about switching programs for later. Okay. Oh, Ashley answered one of Ramon's questions. Okay. Yeah, so if you can talk about the extracurriculars or anything outside of school that really helped you, and then talk about the MBA as well.
So we can both talk about it a little bit. Because I'm in law and business, my initial point, I was planning on going to law school, and then I realized a couple years into the major that I'm not as passionate for the law as I thought. So one nice thing about my major is that I'm also looking into going to business, and MBA is not 100% for me right now. It's more like a door opener kind of opportunity. So if I decide to go to do an MBA, it's with the guarantee that there is a door that's going to be open that I really need and want. I've talked to a lot of my professors. They're both lawyers. They've both graduated MBAs. And they said that it's not as crucial for someone to go and pursue a master's. They will, like, for at least for business, let's say, you don't need an MBA to get a job. That's right off the back. But it does open up a bunch of like opportunities. Depends what kind of like field you go into. It's in MBAs you also have the specialization, so it's still an option for me. But at the moment, once I graduate next year, I'm kind of gonna work for a bit and then see like where my degree can get me to, and if it's not enough what I got as bachelor's, then I will pursue an MBA. But for now, I'm good for my bachelor's.
Yeah, I'd say I definitely wouldn't pursue an MBA directly after getting a bachelor's degree. And a lot of the folks I've spoken to within industry, within engineering, also would concur the same. I had an interview about a month ago, and the director I was talking to, he did an MBA at Western, I believe, and he probably waited almost a decade before he did his MBA, and he was actually able to get his company to pay for it. So an MBA carries a significant cost compared to like your bachelor's degree, even when you compare it to like engineering, which I think is the most expensive bachelor's degree you can get. So definitely, because a lot of what an MBA is, an MBA program is it's a big networking opportunity in some sense. And so when you show up without any industry experience, it becomes difficult to capture your greatest value out of it. Um, so I definitely wouldn't jump into that right away. I definitely hold off work for maybe 3 to 5 years at a minimum, gain some industry experience, work a few different jobs, see what you enjoy, and then kind of look into whether you want to do an MBA and kind of how to approach doing that MBA. There's a lot of programs that offer an MBA kind of I guess after work hours, so in the evenings. So you're able to work full time and then do your MBA from like 6 to 9 p.m. over the course of 2 years or something, I believe. Um, and definitely look into getting into a bigger company, working for a bigger company where they can carry the cost of you doing that MBA. And the requirement, I think, is if they pay for your MBA, you have to stay at the company for like 2 to 3 years. So it's really not, uh, it doesn't really kind of pigeonhole you to one place, so to speak.
Activities that you found most helpful in high school?
Okay, activities I found most helpful in high school. So I had a pretty diverse experience throughout high school. So I played tennis since I was 5 or 6 years old, and I played at a fairly competitive level. Provincially, I'd won a few tournaments. Then I also participated in Skills Ontario for architectural design. And then I still run a summer camp. So I was a camp director throughout high school. And then I also had my lifeguarding and standard first aid certification. So I'd say probably the one that was most useful to me was my camp experience. And it's something I rely on to this day, whether that's to just build a spark with someone when you're networking and build a relationship off of that because they were a camp director and they can relate, or a camp counselor and they can relate to your experience. But then it also carries the most kind of uh, diverse experiences within it because a camp in a lot of ways is like a company. So there is an organizational structure to it. There is planning that goes into it. There's project management. There's social skills. There's politics involved. There's a financial aspect to it, of course. Um, so I'd say from that perspective, if you have the opportunity to work at a summer camp, even if it's for a summer, definitely take it. You'll understand a lot more in how organizations function and why certain things are set up the way they are. And you'll also learn a lot about politics and kind of working within an organization. So, like degrees and everything, they're great. Um, and the paper is nice to have on the wall, and it gives you a certain amount of pedigree when you introduce yourself to someone. But it's not like the thing that necessarily makes a difference at the end of the day. Because even if you have a degree from Harvard and where you went to MIT for engineering, if you're not able to communicate well with other people or you have poor social skills, it doesn't carry that much value because nobody will want to work with you and you won't be able to communicate why your idea is better or why you should do X a certain way. Um, Sorry, that was a bit of a side tangent. But yeah, so summarizing that all up, I'd say camp experience was probably my most valuable. And then second most valuable was different competitions. So I participated in Skills Ontario. I got fifth in architectural design for that. And that's something that I leveraged and I think helped me out with my first job as well. Um, because it's something that most people don't have. So Skills Ontario is essentially a provincial competition relating to the trades and STEM fields. So there's a whole bunch of competitions. You have everything from carpentry and electrical work to machining, mechanical CAD, architectural design, to like hairdressing. And it gives you kind of a taste of what industry is. And you end up introducing yourself to a lot of different people there because you have big companies like Milwaukee there, Caterpillar for like heavy machinery. You introduce yourself to a bunch of the trades, and it's something that's unique. It's something that a lot of people don't do. So yeah, it kind of allows you to make yourself stand out. So that's all I got.
That's all?
Yeah, that's all I got.
Okay. Perfect. Okay, so in comparison to high school and right now with extracurriculars, I was very involved in high school. I was part of a bunch of sports teams, whether or not I knew how to play the sport. I tried to put myself out there a lot. I enjoyed extracurricular activities. I did swimming on the side. I did swimming at school. I did volleyball on the side. I did volleyball in school. And like Daniel, I actually did the same camp. That camp actually helped me develop a lot of social skills, leadership skills, politics. You learn quite a bit when you're with the same type of people for a month overnight, working together tirelessly, and it teaches you how to hold your composure and how to communicate well, and even when you don't agree with somebody on a topic, how to disagree in the most polite way. It teaches you a lot with communication, which degrees don't teach you. So if you have the opportunity to get involved in social groups, sports, which have a lot of disagreements, a lot of frustration, but a lot of rewarding experiences, it's a really good way to put yourself out there in the most uncomfortable position and then see how you react to it. So I also did telemarketing. I hated picking up the phone during high school. I hated it so much, but it taught me how to speak on the phone, how to hear rejection over and over and over again to the point where I was like, I wanted to cry after the first time I ever worked there. And I actually told my mom, I was like, Mom, I want to quit this job like the day of. And she's like, no, you're sticking through it. And honestly, I worked there for 6 months, which was more than most of the kids that were working there. It was more high school kids, but it teaches you a lot how to put you in the most uncomfortable position ever, and then how to adapt in a way. So again, if you have the opportunity to do a weird club or get involved in something you've never been involved in a good way, I definitely take the opportunity, because once you start working, it's a 9 to 5. You're going to be working in the same experience while you have the chance. Put yourself out there, get that experience, and you'll be able to communicate that to your universities, which they eat that up. They love experience. They love to see when you actually are a person and you have interests, you have passions. Even you might not be a perfect person, not the perfect grades, but if you have a personality, they love that. So yeah, don't be scared of personality. Grades aren't everything.
Okay. Thank you so much. That's great advice. I just have one last question, and then we'll go to the questions in the chat. My last question for everyone is your biggest challenge and your best piece of advice.
In general, for life.
Well, for life as a student, applying to universities, I guess. Biggest challenge in university. Biggest challenge and best advice. Who's ready? Anyone here ready? David? Ashley? Biggest challenge in university and your best advice. If you want to think about it, we can go to some of the questions.
I think she was not ready to go first. Yeah.
Oh, you're ready?
Yeah.
Okay. So the biggest challenge of university, so my experience was obviously co-op because we don't have co-op. We there in Schulich there was no co-op or like you had to apply in your summer to internships and co-ops, and no one really talks about the fact that they're really difficult to get. Um, they kind of make it seem like, oh yeah, it's so easy. I just work at the big four, big three, big five, whatever it is. So I would say that the biggest challenge is just also watch out for shoe snakes, but that's not the point. I would, there are people that aren't real people. Okay. So the way to conquer that is in your first year, don't worry about getting an internship. I always tell people like, oh, you should get take summer school, take the summer to relax. Like you literally just spend 8 months studying as hard as you can in your first year. Take summer school, take the summer to just enjoy. In your second and third year, really even like in my experience, in my first year, I traveled. I didn't do even summer school. In my second year, I took summer school, and in my third year, I got an internship at one of the big four, Deloitte, and then I started working there full time. Other people went straight into working at Deloitte after they graduated. Other people got it from their first year. The point that I'm trying to make is that it doesn't matter if you get an internship or not. The point is that at the end of the day, you're going to get a job with your university degree as long as you apply. Obviously, put yourself out there. So take the time to just enjoy university if you can. So that would be the biggest challenge, and then the best experience was I don't even know. Maybe graduating. No. Getting out of there. No. Okay. Best experience. I mean, I think it's like a bunch of things, but really, it's like seeing your hard work. Getting that good grade. Working with people. Shulk is a lot of like working with teams. So it was in my first year. Actually, one of the best experiences was the fact that we were put into teams. We had to develop a business, and my team won, and we got a pizza party with our professor. So that was a fun time getting free pizza with our professor after hard work of the whole semester.
Reward at work when you do well for a project.
And work.
Party.
The best experience at work, I can mention that. So the best experience at work is Friday lunches. They pay for our lunches. So yes, and also work from home. If you can find a place that lets you work from home or hybrid, best. If they make you go every day,
I think most companies at this point
There
are like
a lot of
3 days.
a lot of
hybrid,
yeah, a
like
lot of
3 to
hybrid.
2
But
days
yeah.
in.
But anyways, for school, most likely you're gonna have to go all in person, which is fine. So yeah, but that would be.
Biggest challenge, best advice.
Okay, biggest challenge. I would say for me it was more of the socializing because I didn't know anyone going into McGill. I kind of just went in completely, didn't know a single person. I started from scratch. And I will say that first year, everyone does, majority people do like the university housing, and that is one of the biggest ways people meet each other. But definitely I felt like a pressure that I have to go socialize with everyone. I have to like make friends. It felt like I was starting high school over again. I got really panicked, but like there's this idea that you have to find those like right people and hang out with them all the time and just have like a group, at least from what they told me, like just filter out the people, be careful. Sometimes university is great just on your own, spending time, finding your routine, not feeling the pressure of going to have to socialize with everyone. Sometimes at first it does feel like that, with everything being like, go join this, go join that, like kind of thrown in your face. But when you get the time to settle in, it's really great to be alone sometimes. It really helps you breathe. So that was definitely a big, like really big challenge, just handling the social aspect of it. But you really do, if you do really feel comfortable, it kind of settles. Best experience, I would say some of the classes I took, and meeting the professors. A lot of the McGill classes really range. There is 1,000 students in one lecture hall, the movie style, everyone sitting in a big auditorium, and then there's classes with like 20 people, and a lot of professors, office hours, going and talking to them. You can just come in and talk to them about anything sometimes. Well,
not like a therapist, but like you can go and talk about if you have a question, just curious about what they did, just getting to know them. They're always open to do that. So it's really just getting to know professors. I really was afraid of them at first. I was like, they're just too superior, but no, they're always open. They not sometimes, all the time actually will help you find other opportunities on campus. I went to a bunch of different workshops and different programs just to find out what could be out there after school. And they do give free pizza and food sometimes. So definitely a bonus. But a lot of the professors are really great. So it's getting to meet them, talk to them. That was awesome. Yeah.
Thank you. David?
Yeah, I'd say, yeah, I have to agree with Anastasia that at first, like the social aspect of university is quite difficult. Um, Personally, I did know a few people from my high school that went to university, but they all went to different programs, different pathways, so didn't really see them ever again. So basically, yeah, I had to start from scratch. But aside from the social aspect, I'd say um, work-life balance as well as time management. My first term was not the heaviest. It was a little heavy on the course load, but it was nothing compared to the second term. Also, like the fact that I had to look for co-op second term, it was quite challenging having to have interviews and study for tests and assignments at the same time. Um, so that was definitely difficult, but I would say I got used to it near the end of the year, which should make it easier for upper years, which are also kind of similar in terms of workload. Um, I'd say best experience for me was actually joining extracurriculars in university. I joined a design team. It's a concrete canoe design team, so we literally cast a canoe made of concrete, and then there's actually a competition that's going to go on this month between different universities, which should be really fun. But yeah, there it's kind of like a good break from all the academics, all the burdens of the academic life of university, and while still gaining really valuable skills. I got to meet a lot of upper years in my program that really helped me see what the program is like on a bigger picture, and also like socializing. We had a lot of fun working together, so that was definitely a big highlight in uh, in my first year. And advice, yeah, I would say like put yourself out there, um, but also like take your time. Don't overload yourself because sometimes you do want to just go all out and kind of get as much experience as you want and get as much things done as possible. But I would say taking your time, really uh, taking a step back and like reflecting, saying like, can I really do this? Is really important in my opinion, because you can easily overload yourself in university. There's a lot of unexpected twists almost every week. So I would say like you'll finish with your degree, like, you know, you'll finish with your degree, you'll get your jobs. It's not a race or anything. So yeah, I would say like, that's the one of the bigger advice I'd give.
Thank you so much for that, because I know there's a lot of stress. And it does feel like if you don't get into the top university, it's the end of the world. And if you
Yeah, no,
don't keep a
but
high
that's not.
GPA, it's the end of the world, and you're never going to get a job, and you're never going to graduate. I know the feeling too.
Yeah.
Ashley?
Yeah. Sorry, to kind of like second David, I think that was kind of my biggest challenge in university was always feeling like I had to live up to like some like imagined standard that I created for myself. Um, and I know a lot of people like can relate to that too. Um, and so like ways to work on that is, and this kind of goes into like the advice piece is don't be afraid to talk to upper years. Like even someone a year ahead of you probably has some sort of experiences that they can share, or even just like be a shoulder to cry on. When I figured out that the people in the years above me genuinely wanted to help and genuinely didn't mind like going for coffee with me and kind of hearing all of my concerns and like how stressed I am about classes and work-life balance and stuff. Once that fear dissipated, my life became so much easier. And I learned so much from not only my professors, but my peers in the years above me. Um, and then my favorite experience, um, it was probably like just one of my extracurriculars in undergrad. It was like this huge community fundraiser, and it was at the end of my undergrad, and it kind of was just like the cherry on top, and really highlighted like why I liked the university that I went to and why I liked the extracurriculars that I was doing. So yeah, just don't be afraid to like not go to the most competitive school or not do the most competitive classes just because you think that it's the right thing to do. Just do what you love and what brings you happiness, as cheesy as that sounds, and you'll find success in that, just as David said.
Thank you.
Okay, so I have two challenges. I'm gonna touch on. So one of mine was with co-op. So because I decided to not go into like the law field in second year, actually, I was like, okay, I'm actually not that passionate for the law. I enjoy it, but I'm not 110% like, you know, obsessed with it, which a lot of people that go into law school, they know. They like, when you go into law school, those people are like, they've been going, they've been set to go to law school for a while. And I wasn't one of those people, which kind of freaked me out a little bit because I went to law and business and I'm like, oh no, that's it. Like, it's over for me. Like, no, I'm finishing with a business commerce degree with a specialization in law and business. So when I was applying for co-ops, I was stressing out a bunch because there's not that many co-ops available for law and business. Law and business is in general like a degree that's not available in lots of like universities like HR, marketing, finance, accounting. So this was a very unique degree major, and I basically applied for like 200, 300 co-op positions, and I only heard from 3 companies, two of which didn't take me, and then the last one took me, and it was a fully remote position, which was great. But that after working there for a while, I realized like, oh, you know what? I'm not screwed. Like I actually have a future. Like it's fine. Like I'm finishing with a business degree at the end of the day. Um, I have experience. Like even if you don't know exactly what you're doing, it's okay. Like as long as you are trying your best. If you want to get into co-op, you have to be dedicated to co-op. A lot of people, the reason they don't get into it is because they apply to maybe like 20, 30 jobs and then they're like, oh, I didn't get into it. I tried. No, first co-op is the hardest. You have no job experience. You barely a full, like you didn't even finish your degree. Like it's hard to get a good, like a co-op position. So you have to apply to a lot of positions until you can hear something back. So that was one of my challenges. The second challenge is because going to Ryerson, it's a commuter school, and in high school I was very sociable. I had a lot of like I knew a lot of people because of like all these clubs and everything. So going to Ryerson, where once you finish the class everyone kind of disperses, was a little bit difficult making friends, especially because the first year and a half we were on computers, like it was COVID, right? So for a good year and a half I didn't have anyone that I knew at school. So that was a huge challenge. And going into university, I was like, okay, like I still don't have any friends. And I saw a lot of people were hanging out. I'm like, I have nobody. So, but the expectation has to be set that like you have to try communicating in your class. Like you sit next to somebody, don't like go straight into your phone and ignore everyone around you. If you want to make friends, like it goes both ways, right? You have to also reach out. You also have to like be like, hey, how are you doing? If you want to get to know your professor, you have to take the extra step and like go to the professor and be like, hi, like how are you doing? I have a question about something. Like engage, make that first step because no one else will. Like at the end of the day, like if you want something, you have to go get it. That's how it works. And I think like the best part about university, I just finished my third, fourth year. I still have a year to go. Co-op extended my degree by a year, so I'm going into my fourth year technically. And I am honestly the best experience was getting co-op, and I was that gave me a lot of relief, knowing that I am fine, like I'm okay, and like I'm finishing again with a bachelor's in commerce. Now it's honors. They made it an honors degree, so that's kind of great. That's something special to degree, but and I'm doing computer science minor, so it's it's not nothing, and it's like you still have it, and by having a job like a job co-op and everything, it adds a lot to your you know whole resume, and plus personality. If you have personality, you'll get a job anywhere. Like honestly, it's like honestly, yeah. So
Um, I'd say there was kind of two main struggles for me in university. The first was actually understanding the profs. A lot of them have either very poor communication skills and they mumble and you can't hear them, even if you're sitting in the third row, or a lot of them have very thick accents and they're difficult to understand because of the way their speech is structured. And it becomes worse when it's a very complex subject that you're seeing for the first time and they're not necessarily structuring things the way that a native English speaker would. So my advice for that is scour the internet. I think I did more than half my degree by watching YouTube videos. I had a calculus 3 course where I couldn't understand the prof at all. I pretty much found a full calculus 3 course online, and instead of going to lecture during that class, I'd open up my laptop, go to YouTube, and watch the corresponding lecture online. So that's something I struggled with. That's something I know a lot of my friends struggled with. And then the second thing I struggled with was managing exams. Sometimes the university doesn't set you up for success. Um, Pretty much, I've had situations where I have had 3 midterms in a day. Um, Thankfully, I had a reading week beforehand, so I was actually somewhat able to plan it out, break it up, and study for it. Um, but you have to gauge your expectations as to how much knowledge you can pack into your brain about fluid mechanics, statistics, and like math, because sometimes they're very diverse and they don't quite relate. And if you got to do 3 in a day, like your performance is slowly going to degrade throughout the day too, because it's a lot of kind of high intensity studying and high intensity thought. So gauge your expectations. Sometimes the university puts you into situations that you just can't necessarily pivot out of. And one other piece of advice for that is sometimes if you do have 2 or 3 exams in a day and you need a good mark and you need the time to study, um, don't be scared to like go get a sick note. I've done it in the past where like I needed the marks and I needed the time to study, and so it may not be the most ethical thing, but at the end of the day, there's kind of more than one way to make it where you need to go.
Okay. Thank you so much. Let me see what kind of questions we've gotten. So the first question that we skipped over was from Roman. If you weren't happy with what program I was doing, is it possible to switch to something different, either midterm or after a term? Would I need to completely start over with a new program? Ashley, you've answered that question in writing. Does anyone else have experience? I know my daughter had an experience of switching programs, and that was okay. They did help her, and they did count some of her course. I think almost everything counted towards the new degree. You have something to add to that?
so my friend switched kind of degrees in a way. She went from Lori financial like business. She wanted to do a double degree in finance and business. I believe or it's accounting or something like that. But basically, like after a year, she's like, yeah, I don't want to be a Laurier. She is also like a very home based person. Keep that in mind when you're applying. If you are a home based person, you love home, and you're not a party person, like a lot of people that are not like that, like party people, they like home, they come back home. after a year or two because it's not their comfortable like climate moving away from home. So just keep that in mind when you're like applying for universities and choosing. But she moved back and she had to take some extra courses to make sure she wasn't falling behind her degree. So she did a year. She had to take like an extra course or something to continue her like business degree because it was a little bit different. But like your sister, like she like
Yeah, my sister started at Ottawa for criminology, or at Carleton for criminology. Then she transferred into economics at Carleton as well. Didn't like that either. And she also didn't like being in Ottawa. So then she transferred to York for psychology, and she stuck to that. I think they transferred most of her credits. There's a few she ended up having to catch up on. Engineering specifically, because of the way the engineering program is structured and engineering in Ontario is structured, um, essentially your courses are already defined for what you're going to do. You have very minimal electives in what you can do. So even from like school to school, um, there's a standard that's being set by professional engineers of Ontario and by the ministry, of what you have to learn and when you have to learn it. So it becomes a lot easier to transfer. But that being said as well, it's easier to transfer in first year where you don't have so much diversity in what you've gone into. For example, if you went down mechanical engineering in third year, and then all of a sudden, in third year you decide you want to do software engineering, you'll probably have to come back to first year because that's where all the courses are the same, and then kind of go through second and third year. Whereas if you did mechanical engineering in first year, decide you don't like it, and decide to switch to software engineering, you would maybe have to catch up on one course.
Thank you. A question for Beata. Someone can explain MBA. We answered that. A big thank you to Anastasia for answering the question. What was the name of the camp? What was the name of the camp? Anastasia, what was the name of the camp you worked at?
center camp.
Center camp. You also mentioned camp experience. No? Masha, you had a camp experience?
So it's the both of us at Muskoka camp.
Muskoka. Yeah. Ashley, you also mentioned camp experience. What was yours?
I was at J Academy.
J Academy. Okay. Which camp? Trapinka is our favorite camp in Ontario. Thanks a lot, Danielle, for that's for you.
Wait, where to be number one? Ah, nice.
A personal message. Excellent. Those that are still at universities. It lost my place. Those that are still at universities, what are their plans career-wise? I mean, how do they see their career path? Ashley, you're in medical school. How do you see your career path? Are you do you have to are you specializing in a certain type of medicine?
So you do general medicine for 4 years and in med school first, and then you have to apply to a specific type of medicine. At the end of those 4 years, then you do like another, on average, 5 years. So I don't know exactly what type of doctor I will be. I have ideas. But I do know I want to stay in Canada. Like, there's a lot of people in my class that are thinking of maybe going to the States. I don't think that's for me. That's I think my career path is like I have some ideas of what kind of doctor I want to be, and hopefully in Canada. And there's like a question at the bottom in the chat, like which jobs will AI replace? I don't know if it will replace like all of medicine, but there's a type of doctor called like a radiologist that people think might be replaced by AI in the next like 10 years. Those are the doctors that basically read scans and like MRIs and stuff and make the diagnoses. So I don't know if that's helpful, but yeah.
David, career path?
Yeah. So my path is pretty simple, honestly. Like I said before, I am considering taking grad school if I am interested in I think structural engineering, which is like a subset within civil, basically like buildings and bridges. But there are ways you can specialize in Waterloo, and I'm pretty sure in other universities as well. In your upper years, you can basically first years you don't really have any electives. Then in upper years you do have electives, and based on those, you can specialize within a specific sector in your engineering program. So you can kind of customize your degree in that way. It's not the most important thing. It's not like if you specialize, let's say, in structural, then you have to have structural jobs. Again, still a civil engineering degree. You can take any engineering job. But yeah, honestly, I'm still like exploring which specific sector I want. My co-op right now is a site job, so more construction based or quality assurance based. So far it's pretty good, but I do want to explore some structural design, some transportation. Yeah, so I'm still exploring, still seeing what I like. Yeah.
There's a question for you, David. Since you like landscaping and plants, can you have a co-op in urban planning and environment, not in engineering field as a civil engineer in Waterloo University after first year, just in case if my son will not find a co-op in the first, second year?
Yeah, for sure. So, well, specifically environment or anything environmentally related, environmental engineering is a subset of civil. There's also a whole different program, a separate program, environmental engineering in Waterloo. So you can for sure do environmental jobs in civil. In terms of urban planning, it is related to civil a little bit. Again, there's a separate program for that. It's called planning. But if you do want to go with a civil engineering degree, but still want to explore things that aren't specifically related to engineering, it's for sure possible to find jobs that are not related to your field or engineering at all. Um, you just have to know how to market yourself in a specific way. And again, a lot of that comes from transferable skills. And probably knowing how to design a bridge is going to be really helpful in um, pollution control jobs. So I would say uh, focus more on transferable skills, general knowledge. But yeah, it certainly is possible. Personally, I don't know anyone who got jobs that are not related to civil in my year, but I do know some upper years that did kind of deviate from engineering in their co-op. So yeah, it's for sure possible.
Anastasia, you're still in school, right?
Yes.
So career path.
Um, I still don't know what exactly I will be going into because political science is so broad. You can go into law, you can go into diplomacy, government, and it's really good for international jobs because it's big on international relations. But that is, I'm not too sure, but I also have kind of a direction I am leaning into, and that's mostly cybersecurity and government. I don't want to stay in Canada, so I'm trying to see more outside. But that's why I decided to do a very specific minor because, and it's related to AI. My cognitive science minor, there is four streams, and if you're minoring, you have to take two of them. So psychology, philosophy, linguistics, and computer science. I'm taking computer science and psychology, which is why as a minor it is worth more credit. You have to take more credits than a regular one, and that is to kind of narrow down my expertise a bit in school. It's just in general, it's if you have a more broad major, like I know psychology sometimes can be quite a big range, as well as political science. Pairing a minor that could be a bit more specific to your interests is very good with that. Additionally, I don't know if I even want to pursue politics. Sometimes I think about it, and my minor actually gives me that pathway because a lot of people do actually go into PhDs and masters and related to their minor. I had a professor who majored in physics but minored in political theory and ended up being a political theory professor and researching strictly political theory. So I'm not too sure, but cybersecurity is the direction, kind of combining a little bit of both. And I do want to look more into, well, my minor does, we work on the final course will be
AI models. So I do kind of want to understand that in case I get replaced. But I want to learn how to control it a little bit if it can be.
We all do.
Yeah. Sure. Yes. So similar, like to everyone. I'm also like not 100% sure like where I want to be going into. Right now, um, my direction, like the reason I did computer science is because I am like I love technology. I really enjoy where it's going. In the future I want to work in a company that's like more technology based. And for me, like having the computer science background is like fundamental now because everything is technology. Everything is like turning into like it's all computerized. So being able to have that background knowledge in it, even though I don't want to become a programmer, I feel like it's now for business like a fundamental thing to have, especially if you want to advance in like the tech industry. So like I said, like in the very beginning, I'm like looking into project management, but that's just like an idea. That's like an area that I want to work on projects. Not sure which kind of projects yet. Right now, I'm a procurement agent. I work. I was doing indirect goods and services, and recently I asked my manager, I was like, hey, I'm interested in IT, like I want to get more involved in that. He's like, sick, okay, let's get you more involved in IT contracts. Let's get you more involved in new projects our company is getting, like wants to implement in the future. So I get to work with bigger companies that are focused in the IT industry. This way I can get a connection with them. I can see what kind of projects they work on, kind of understand what companies look for in a sense. And slowly I'm going to try like building myself up and like more and more like I'm going to kind of climb the ladder in a sense. But um, like I said, like kind of project officer, project management, like whatever I can find in that area. I'm still not 100% sure because I haven't been exposed to those areas, but um, that's more my orientation, if that gives you an insight. Yeah.
Thank you. Jobs. Roman, I was looking at Ontario University's info website and I see several different programs that have the same degree. How would that look on a resume? Like how would different university names look on your resume? I guess this is a question about
I think they're
whether
saying like if you get a BA, yeah, like a BA in psychology versus a BA in I don't know, political
I see
science.
there's several different programs that have the same degree,
Yeah, so the same degree would be
like bachelor's of commerce, but like
a bachelor's of commerce
he
with a
wrote something.
specialization in
Oh.
business.
Would I specify what I studied to get that degree? Like,
I mean, like technically, I was a part of the design engineering stream, but like I never specified that.
yeah, if you want to specify, you can.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, like, just another thing is like, one nice thing about like Canada is that it's not like the U.S. If you go to an Ivy League school, like that's all they look at. They don't really care like program wise. Here, like, you get your program. Like I'm doing bachelor's of commerce. If I want to apply to a job that's nothing related to law and business, I'm not going to specify that I did law and business because they'll be like, oh, you don't know what we're talking about. But we get all the basic information. Like we do HR courses, we do marketing courses, we do finance courses, accounting, etc. Like we do all those courses. So
I think that's something that would maybe more fit onto like a cover letter or
yeah,
like an in-person interview where you can really go into depth of like what you studied, why you studied it, and
What you
how
learned.
that relates to the job.
because on a resume you only mention
You
like
only
your
got a
school and
page,
your
yeah.
degree, the rest of your, and it's like one line, right?
It's
The
one
rest of
line,
your
yeah.
resume is work
Maybe if your
experience.
GPA is good, you put that in there too, and if it's not good, you don't.
If your job requires something more specific, you can like narrow
You
it
can-
down,
yeah.
but it's always
Like give yourself a little bit more credit.
Yeah,
for,
like,
Yeah.
whatever
if
you
you're
did.
looking at like if I was looking at a more international based job, I would maybe say a political science focused international relations.
It's like
But
I also did languages. and
yeah,
that sort of stuff.
languages. It really is just adapting to it, but
Yeah.
you only have one page.
Also, feel free to embellish on your
Yeah.
resume.
Yeah.
Nobody
Embellish
really
yourself
checks. Yeah, like really sell yourself. I find that helps a lot.
Give yourself recognition.
Yeah.
You deserve it.
And it
Why
takes a lot of
unmute
effort to build a
people
good
now?
resume because you tend to
Where do I
forget
go?
Participants.
what you've done over the years.
You have to update it.
Yeah, and update it constantly.
Yes.
I think we should. I think people are able to
Unmute.
themselves.
Yeah. If you want to unmute yourself and ask a question, please do so. All right, thanks for the answer. Okay, does anyone else have a question? Do you guys have any last minute, anything that you didn't get to say that you think would be helpful or important?
I wouldn't stress too much about the university you go to. A lot of people do. At the end of the day, like it's a degree.
Yeah.
Everyone has the same degree. Like
And every university has their own like pros and cons and like benefit. Like I will say, like UBC, U of T, McGill. Like yeah, the names are sometimes glorified, but really it doesn't really matter. You know, sometimes it may give you more. Some schools may give you more international access, more co-op access. It really depends what you're trying to do. So don't worry too much about the name, how it looks, as long as it's what you really want to do. And also, universities are great for switching. Like you can really explore what you like. Sometimes I didn't even know specifically what I wanted to do, and the first year really gave me that opening. So it's
okay not to know.
yeah, it's okay not to know what you want to do.
Anything to add? No? Anyone else have any questions? We froze?
Can you guys hear us?
Yeah,
Okay.
just your screen is frozen.
Okay. Good. No, if no one has any questions, then no one has any questions? Last chance to ask questions. Thinking time?
They're maybe thinking.
Thinking time about a question. Okay.
30 seconds.
30 seconds.
The Kahoot, the countdown.
David and Ashley, since I didn't, okay, there's a question for David. Since I didn't start recording on time, we were getting some questions.
Let's maybe remove this part. So
Which this?
the X, yeah. The X.
Yeah. Okay. I would like you to introduce yourselves again because I didn't start recording. But we do have questions, so let's go to those. Thank you very much. Кто-нибудь выбрал бы другое? Oh, okay. Would you have done things differently if you could start over?
This I don't want to.
Can you log on your phone again because we're frozen?
I don't want to ramble too much, but the one thing about McGill, I don't know how it is for other schools because they might be similar, but if you aren't doing AP or IB credits, you actually start off as a U0. So you're in the faculty of science, arts, music, education, but you're not doing a specific major yet. You're just doing whatever specific courses you want and some foundational prerequisites that usually AP or IB credits will make up for. And a lot of people actually start off like that. I started off like that myself, and that really actually gives you some space to think what specifically you like, gives you room to explore different degrees within the faculties, gives you also time to switch. If you got into arts but you decided you actually want to do science, you can switch to the science faculty and still take all the necessary credits to specify something later. And if you did go into McGill with pre-existing AP and IB credits, you still have that room first year to switch. It's a little less flexible, obviously, because you come in with a declared major, but a lot of students might not, like you need 24 AP credits. I don't know how much for AP, but IB, but a lot of people don't actually have the full 24, so they'll have room to pick whatever. So really, I wouldn't start over, do anything differently because I had that room to
think and figure out what I want ahead of time. So Miko's good for that.
No regrets. I think Schulich is a great school and it's a great program. And the only thing that I don't regret anything, but I would say like I would have wished not to be so hard on myself and not be so stressed. I remember going in and everyone had their internships with the Big Four and just being really upset. And then in third year, I got my big internship and it was COVID, so it was a bit not the best. Not they did what they could, but it was actually the best because I actually got to enjoy summer, then intern, and then still enjoy summer. So I think that no matter what you choose to do, like we discussed, like it doesn't matter what university you go to. It's you're gonna get a degree, you're gonna go to school, you're gonna work. So might as well enjoy life. Don't regret anything. So,
Similar to everyone else, no, I don't regret my choices. I at the very start, I remember like when I accepted to go to Ryerson, my heart was set on Laurier. I was already thinking of like, oh, which residence should I stay at? Oh, this is the places I'm gonna go at. I was a little upset because it was more because I hyped it up for myself, and I thought, oh, there, I'm on two cameras. Okay, sorry, I'm just gonna end this one. Um, for me, like it was the right decision to go to Ryerson because like for many reasons. The program is great. Like they have a good business school. They have a good co-op program. Lots of like resources. Like every day, I get an email from my student advisor being like, "Hey, there's a new job opening, full-time job opening for almost grads, new grads at like the Toronto Blue Jays." Social media coordinator. I'm like, okay. Like then the next day, I get like a different job. So there's a lot of resources in that sense. Like when I was picking Laurier over Ryerson, Ryerson over Laurier, it was more about what does the program like offer me. One nice thing that I was like, okay, this puts Ryerson way above Laurier is Ryerson is in downtown Toronto. You're surrounded by so many companies. Like you have so many opportunities. You're in it. Like the problem with Laurier, they're in Waterloo, so you have to you can get a job if you get a co-op. You can get a job in Waterloo. That's great. You can get a job in Toronto. It's just if you want to work in Toronto, it's great if you get a co-op in Toronto. In that sense. So I don't regret it at all. Definitely, you don't get the student life you would get if you moved away. But I I have friends here. I come home, there's like a home cooked meal for me every single day. I don't have to worry about expenses, which is like something my friends worry about in McMaster, like Western, all that sort of stuff. Um, it's an hour and a half for me to get to Ryerson. I take the GO train. I take the subway. It's like I know I'm gonna have my own home, like my own privacy, like and I'm not like an introvert, like don't like socializing. It's just it's a nice feeling when you come home and like you don't have to worry about some things that like would be on my mind if I was in a different school. So pros and cons, like, but I don't regret it.
Um, I've kind of as I graduated, you kind of get into a lull where what you've known the last 12, 14 years of your life of being in school. Um, there's kind of this weird period where you're kind of shifting over into the work mindset, and like you still have friends that are in school, and then you're also like kind of getting into your first job. You're experiencing your first job. Maybe you're experiencing the stress of that job for the first time, and you really kind of start to question of like, did I make the right decision? Did I choose the right program? Maybe I should have gone away for school because that way I could have experienced more parties and like, or like, experience more certain social aspects that you don't get to experience when you're living at home. Um, and truthfully, it's hard to say because like I like my day to day life and I enjoy the work I do. So it's I've thought about maybe I should have done software engineering because then I could have got a job right out of school that pays $300,000 a year. And yeah, that sounds great, but would I have enjoyed directly sitting at a computer for 8 to 12 hours a day programming? Uh, Maybe not. Like a lot of my job right now is in the field. Like I got to go in Like I've been standing beside an 800 megawatt nuclear reactor, like in a full suit, measuring stuff within the containment vault. Um, like I've built and tested lines for the development of life-saving medical isotopes. So like I really enjoy the kind of hands-on aspects of my job, and um, honestly, I try to just do what I enjoy, and that way I don't have all that many regrets, and I'm not too worried about kind of shifting gears or changing paces within my career.
Thank you. Ashley?
I I don't have any regrets at all. Um, I'm very happy with where I ended up at, and I learned a lot along the way. Um, and yeah, I think like everyone has a different experience, everyone has a different journey. Um, but I don't have anything that I regret, I would say.
Okay, anything special you may have done through your okay. Anything special that you may have done through your time in your high school that helped you get into university? Let's start with Ashley again because you have to go, right?
I do. I'm sorry. I have a final tomorrow morning that I'm putting off studying for. So this is a good study break. Um, but which I should not be doing. Anyways, special things that I did through high school that helped me get into university. I volunteered a lot at my, like, not the local hospital, but the foundation for the local hospital, which like raised money for for the hospital, and that helped me make a lot of really good connections. Some programs required me, I don't know if people if they do this now, some programs required me to have references. Some jobs that I applied to in university required me to have references, and having those really good connections from the field that I wanted to go into, aka like hospitals, was really, really useful. And then yeah, falling back on the camp example again, just like the best experience. If your kid is not going to camp, try to get them into one. It is honestly like will propel them throughout
Like
their boat.
working at a camp.
Yes. Working
Okay.
at a camp, or even honestly as a participant too. I went to camp as a participant actually in high school as well for 1 year, and it was really great to make connections and have that experience as well. I don't know how much it helped me in university, but yeah, that's my advice.
Thank you so much. David, any regrets?
Um, Honestly,
And
no.
one thing you did in high school that was really helpful.
I'd say no regrets so far. Hopefully I can keep it that way. I would say everything turned out the way that I kind of wanted it to. Like not necessarily always planned to, but they still turn out really well for me. I'd say that kind of everything fell in place in university for me. Sometimes it just does, life does that. Sometimes you do it. But yeah, no major regrets. Um, I'd say special things you can do in high school. Yeah, try to get like a lot of volunteer experience. I would recommend even like going above that 40-hour requirement in high school. Really, again, try to put yourself out there. And also try to get, if you can. I honestly tried. I could not find any part-time jobs over the summer before going to university, but I would say like, um, it's a really good shot to take is to find a job. Honestly, any job. Like if you have know someone who you can work for, assists, anything. Honestly, any job you would be able to leverage a certain set of skills that I'm sure most jobs will find useful in the future, whether it be co-op or after graduating. Um, yeah, I mean that's I'd say like mostly extracurriculars, also clubs within your school if you have any special clubs that you are interested in, even if they're not related to the degree you're pursuing. I think they're still worth joining. And again, like high school, you won't find the same type of clubs in university. You will still have like quite a few clubs in university, but not necessarily the same experiences that you did in high school. So I'd say take advantage of that. Also take advantage of your free time. I know it might not seem like it's a lot of free time, but compared to university, definitely is. Try to make the most out of it. Again, don't overload yourself, but yeah, really put yourself out there.
Thank you. Um,
What was the question?
you've answered the regrets question.
Yeah.
The high school experience that really
Oh.
helped in university.
Yeah, I would say like similar volunteering. I worked at Sears right before it closed forever, so that was a fun experience working with customers. I don't know. Oh my God. I think like everything in high school, like doing like volunteering. I was part of the Rotaract Club at my high school for all 4 years, and it helped me not only get my volunteer hours, but also get myself an executive role in high school, and that really helps with applying to university. And I still include it. So, I joined the university equivalent, which is I joined the Interact Club in high school, and then the university equivalent is Rotaract Club, which is also international organization. So some clubs there are hires like like if you did sports or sports at university. So yeah, choosing something you're passionate about and doing it with your full heart really helps.
Similar to everyone else, taking advantage of what your high school has to offer. My high school was an art school. We had an art program as well as IB. So I was in theater arts, and that definitely gave me a lot of like references. A lot of my high school teachers helped out with my application, but also this one, it's not necessarily for everyone, but I was very unsure with if I wanted to do science, journalism, anything. I was very, I didn't know what I wanted to do. And a lot of people sometimes narrow down their courses in high school. And yeah, it is a lot to take on if your courses are very different from one another. And if you have the option to not take a science here, not take a math there, it does make things easier. But if you don't know, there's no waste of energy and time taking an extra science, an extra math. They will actually, I am doing political science, but I did take all the maths and sciences that were available at my high school because I didn't know when I wanted to have that option. And they do help out with your application because they do look in Ontario and McGill, they look at top six grades. But regardless, it shows diversification in your study. So it's not a waste if some people think that, because I know a lot of my friends and I personally thought I'm wasting my time doing all this science if I'm going to go into something more politics related, but it's still really helped out. So it's not, any work you put in high school is not a waste. So don't think it's not worth mentioning. But
Okay, so in high school, I remember in grade 11, actually it was in grade 10, I had to put in my courses for grade 11, and I was really bad at science, but at the back of my head, I was like, I need to go into science. I need to I just remember growing up, my grandmother was like, you have to become a doctor. You have to do whatever. And I remember taking physics, chemistry, computer science, and biology. And I go to the guidance counselor because I'm like, listen, I have I don't know, I don't know if I can take all of them. And she's like, you're not doing that well in sciences. Do you actually like sciences? I'm like, I like the physics one, but like everything else, I don't enjoy as much. So she's like, you can drop them. You don't need to go into science. Like that is not the only career path. Like you can go into business. You can take accounting courses. You can take more math like courses. Math I was fine with. And if you are interested in computer science, you can keep computer science. Like you don't need to take physics. And the only reason I was okay with going into business was because I I was involved with camp. So camp really helped me with social skills, like leadership skills. It's business is a lot of talking. Like, you know, you have to be a people's person, especially if you go into like more managerial like type field. So I wasn't worried about going into business because I kind of prepared myself to go into that field. I felt like that was something I was actually good at, and that is something I would succeed at, even though I wasn't really sure what specific like job it was. That was okay to me because I knew like I would do good in it because I had the skills for it. Like taking drama class, I took drama class in high school, and I never took drama. I never acted. I was like, what is this? But I was like, okay, let's just try it out. And it taught me how to do public speaking. It taught me how to be loud, how to be confident, how to like just be vocal. Like it teaches a lot of like those kind of skills, which I was struggling with. Hence the telemarketing. I put myself in a position that like is awful for most people. And like sports really helped out because like you work as a team, and like I said, like usually in sports it's very, you know, competitive, and everyone wants to win. Everyone has a lot of rage, so like a lot of emotions going on during that time, and just being able to still be a good team player and knowing how to communicate your emotions is like super important. So like while you're growing up, get involved in as many like of these type of involvements as possible.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'd say in terms of getting into university from high school, just diversity of experience is what's going to help you most, and your ability to communicate that diversity of experiences. Um, that's mostly all I got.
Perfect. That's great.
I'll keep it short and sweet.
Okay. Yeah.
Thank you. Let me just check if there's any more questions. Thank you very much. Thank you for your answer. Okay. It looks like there's no more questions. I'm so grateful to you guys for joining us. I have little gifts for everybody. Please. Thank you so much. Last minute.
No problem.
Ashley and David, I will be emailing you the same things that these guys are getting. So right after this, everyone who attended tonight, thank you so much. We all wish you the best of luck in graduating high school and finding the right university and the right career for you. Thank you for joining. Thank you guys for joining. It was really, really helpful, I'm sure, to a lot of people, and we will be posting this on YouTube and sharing with more students. So this was an amazing thing that you did for everyone. Thank you. A lot of thank yous from everyone.
Thanks for attending. Thanks for being curious.
Thank you.
Thank you. Enjoy your night, everyone.
Oh,
Thank you. Yeah, a lot of thank yous.
Nice.
Helpful. Thank you for sharing. Thanks for coming.
Yes, if anyone needs to reach out to us, like just message
Yeah.
Maria. Yeah.
Yeah,
like,
you can let me know and I'll
Yeah.
connect you guys with these valuable sources of information. Thank you. Thanks so much for coming, David. I'm going to end the meeting.
Bye-bye.
Enjoy. Bye.
See ya.
Bye.
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 I think
Okay.
everyone left.
Yeah.